But also, I did start up Anthem, and I got through the tutorial mission.
Didn't I tell you to wait? I told you to wait on Anthem.
And what have I not done very well to you in the history of our relationship?
I don't know. A lot. It's a long list.
Well, at the very top is listen. This is why you yell.
That's true.
But I think the flying in that game is really good. I'm not too sure on the combat because everything in the tutorial was super easy.
Yeah.
And here he is. He's back.
Can I give you my honest opinion?
In a second.
Okay.
In a second. I am drawn to this game in a way that I don't even really know why. I want to play this game, and I have a feeling I'm probably going to come out the other side of it going, yeah, this probably isn't very good, but I still want to play it anyway. I like flying around. Flying's really good.
The flying feels great.
The flying's at least they got that right. I'm not so sure about the story, and I do find it funny that you are basically a crew of Iron Men that need a giant ship to transport you around. I think that's kind of funny.
I think the thing that really bothers me though is like the story keeps telling you that you're the freelancer, you're like the only one or whatever, and then everything is based around team-based combat.
Well, that was something I didn't understand. So like they keep referring to you as the freelancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're only working at Fort Tarsis, whatever, how the fuck are you a freelancer? You just work for them. Like you work that fucking place. So you're not a freelancer. It's not like you're doing like you're picking up your shit. And
you're a freelancer. Like you're not getting benefits. You don't have an actual salary. You're paid for service. You know.
Yeah, but like are they though? Because if like they're fighting government, like they're fighting the Anthem off or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what their whole thing is. So they're fighting a war so they can stay alive.
Yes.
But it makes no sense.
I mean, every so often, my partner will watch me play video games. She's like, "Why are you doing that?" I'll go, "Because video games."
Yeah,
and I feel like that's the
BioWare. This is fucking BioWare. They wrote Mass Effect. They wrote Dragon Age.
Yeah, but
that company does not exist anymore.
Yeah, I know. We talked about this.
Same company.
Phillips, we talked about this in the chat. Mm-hmm. We were just like, this is not the same BioWare that made Baldur's Gate or KOTOR or Mass Effect.
Yeah, see, that's my BioWare. Like, that's what I grew up with.
And not my BioWare.
I mean, okay, like, as a BioWare longtime fan, like I feel like Mass Effect 1 was probably the end of like the classic BioWare titles.
Mm-hmm.
2, and don't get me wrong, I really like Mass Effect 2, but that's when they started getting like a lot more cinematic, I guess, in their.
That's also where
titles.
EA came in and like was like, "Fuck your RPG elements."
I don't know, man. I still think Mass Effect 2 is one of the greatest games ever made.
Oh no, I didn't mean to say it's a bad game. I just meant like it's not. I don't view it as
not the
classic
traditional
style.
Yeah.
Like Mass Effect 1 is a much more hardcore RPG, whereas Mass Effect 2 is it's amazing. Don't get me wrong. That Mass Effect is one of my favorite series of all time, but it's definitely different. In the way it played.
I think this comes back, like for me. This comes back to an argument of like, does simplified mean better or worse? And for some people, it can mean better. Like if you simplify systems down to make them a lot more intuitive and stuff like that, like the more hardcore people will consider that to be like, you know, hey, that's dumbing it down. I don't want that. I want all the sliders on the screen. You know what I mean? And like, I think that like Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 to me was them, I guess, I don't want to say dumbing down, but like condensing the formula in a way that made sense. And like, I get what you guys are saying though. Like, yeah, I get like, you know, Mass Effect 1 was definitely different than Mass Effect 2.
I think Mass Effect 2 is a better game.
Yeah.
But I think Mass Effect 1 is a more traditional BioWare title. You know, it reminded me much more of the BioWare games I played growing up. I started at Baldur's Gate. I think they had a title before that as well. But they've done the quote-unquote dumbing down to their games before, but it was with Dragon Age 2. Because Dragon Age 1 was a really, really good old school RPG, similar to Neverwinter Nights, which is coming to consoles this year. And then Dragon Age 2, they dumbed it down. And they really oversimplified that. And I mean, I did not like that game much at all. Yeah. I thought Inquisition was fantastic, though. I thought that was absolutely fantastic game.
I need to go back and try Inquisition again, because like whenever I got to Inquisition, I kind of had the same feeling about like it as I did too, where I felt like at one point I got really frustrated with Inquisition because I was this level 20 some odd character. I just fucking fought a dragon, and a guy's like, "Hey, can you go get my sheep? Like it's something took it, and I need my sheep back." And I about lost my shit. What the?
You have to get those quests out of the way in the beginning, like in The Witcher 3, where one of your first quests is to go get that pan. You have to get those kinds of quests out of the way at the beginning where you're still weak.
This is medieval non-stick shit. I need that pan, all right?
That's an actual quest. So.
I actually just downloaded Inquisition and The Witcher. I re-downloaded The Witcher.
Like Witcher, don't get. It sounds like I'm shitting on these games. Witcher's, in my opinion, one of the greatest accomplishments ever seen in video games. I love that game. Shut up, Moose. But it does have some stupid stuff in it for sure. But that's kind of what Witcher is.
Well, I think Moose has walked his hate for The Witcher back a little bit, because he's always said he's basically said the reason I suck at The Witcher is because I was playing Bloodborne, and now he's never gonna stop playing Bloodborne.
Well, because here's what we're gonna do when Moose builds this PC that we've been talking about for the last 20 years of our friendship. He's going to install Witcher. He's going to install Witcher 3. He's going to put the Dark Souls mod on. And he's going to have a great fucking time. That's what he's going to do.
Awesome. Now, Corey, you had mentioned. Well, actually, we started by talking about Anthem here, and Kenny, you had some thoughts. I don't think we had gotten to you about that.
Yeah, I went into Anthem wanting to like it.
Yeah.
And like, I heard some early criticisms of it from, a couple of podcasts I listened to, the main one being Giant Bomb. Mm-hmm. But the more I started it the other night, I put about 3 hours into it, so I'm not super far. But the fact that I did the exact same thing that I did in the beta in those first few missions, like it's picking up those little glowy orb things and then taking them back to that EDM pulsating metal, and then putting the ecstasy pill thing in the EDM, and then you do that a bunch of times, and then a giant monster comes out of your fever dream and tries to fight you. Then you kill that one and move on to the next one. And
see, the way you describe it, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
but
are you really gonna want to do that for 40 hours?
Yeah, and that's
it's like, still down. I Destiny for over 1,000.
Like I don't want to hate the game, but like if that's all there is, and that's like the first 3 missions were that, and I was like, I like the combat. Like a lot of people have been saying the combat doesn't feel great. I think it feels fine. I thought it felt pretty fun to me personally. Okay. I don't love the enemy design. I think that's why people don't like the combat, honestly. I think that the enemy design is just so uninspired that's why people are just like, oh yeah, this combat kind of shitty. But I don't know, man. It's just there's not anything there.
You know what I find most staggering when I play Anthem is how did this game take 7 years?
Yeah.
They started this in 2012. EA gave them the Frostbite engine, so they don't have to develop an engine. This took them 7 years, and this is their main team.
Yep.
So when I play the Anthem, I really want to like it. I mean, I love BioWare. I didn't like Andromeda, but I thought, okay, Anthem's going to be the one that brings me back because I loved Inquisition. You know, Andromeda wasn't for me, but Anthem's going to bring me back. And
I kind of give Andromeda a pass though, because A, it wasn't their main team. B, they switched engines 18 months before the game was supposed to be out. Like, I don't know. I kind of give it a little bit of a pass.
be more critical, Corey.
Me?
Yes, it wasn't Andromeda. The writing for a BioWare title was not up to snuff, and neither is it in
No,
Anthem
I
either.
agree. It was not.
It's not great in Anthem either.
Straight trash.
The frustrating part about Anthem is that I really want to like it, and then it like just gets in its own way. If you're lucky enough to play and get past the connection issues that are plaguing like every platform, like it runs like crap on any piece of hardware you want to play it on. The loading times are atrocious.
The loading times
and
are
numerous.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to explore this cave? Cool. Here's a loading screen. Like that's not an open world game, you know. And it's just frustrating. And God forbid you want to change your loadout on the fly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just stuff like that. Like it just
or see what you picked up.
yeah, like it just gets in the way of my enjoyment of it. And I just played another game like this that I liked a lot better, and it's called Division 2, and it comes out next month. And you know what I mean? Like it's not that I want to dislike Anthem, and I think it will be quite good, but this is a $60 product now.
Yeah.
It took 7 years to make, and I don't think that what they have released is good enough.
Well,
Personally, anyways.
You have to wonder, is EA going to continue to back this thing? Like, the sales are down on it a lot.
Yeah, it's what they say, like 50, like the physical copies are like 50% down, less than Andromeda.
And like it sold like 5% of what Destiny 2 sold, or something like that.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 sold like 5% of what Destiny 1 sold. At least a lot, you know what I mean? Like it I really want it to do well because I like the the blueprint. Like I like, you know, what's there. I like, as Kyo was saying, flying feels great. When you hop into it, it's hard to not feel disappointed if you were one of the people who watched that reveal trailer and you saw this game and it looked incredible. Like it looked like a next gen game. The world was so dense. Tarsus looked incredible. Like Tarsus looked amazing. And then you see it. It reminds me a lot of when you saw that meme for No Man's Sky where Sean Murray's on stage and they showed like those giant brontosaurs and then they showed what's actually in the game. Are you
talking about the Jurassic Park one?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's like the
like,
music is
like some
on like a
little but this is when I walk through Tarsus, the same guys in the same spot having the same conversation all the fucking time. Like, and it's so static and it just pulls me right out. And look, I'm not trying to be overly critical. It's just I was really disappointed because I really wanted to like it.
But those mech suits look good.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Like it's 2019. It took 7 years to make that game, and you didn't learn anything from the launch of Destiny. You didn't learn anything from the launch of Destiny 2, where it was kind of a repeat, and then it was like, oh yeah, the rest of the story or a really good story is going to come out in Forsaken, so pay us another $60.
I feel like Anthem's in a weird spot too, because like I feel like the shared world shooter kind of game as a service has kind of like come and gone, and people realize it's like, okay, it's the Division 2 and Destiny, and that's kind of like you're probably going to pick one or the other. And the other games as a service model seems to be like Apex, Fortnite, Rainbow Six. Like a lot of people who aren't playing Destiny or the Division are playing one of those games. And like Anthem kind of missed the boat on the RPG one, and they're making a lot of the same mistakes that those games made when they launched, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, like one thing that kind of bummed me out, you know, playing the beta, I remember whenever I first saw that, you know, you could go in and switch out your ults. Like, you know, you had a whole bunch of different ults that you were picking up in the beta, or at least a couple. Mm-hmm. I thought those were going to be like, you know, a random drop thing where you would continue getting those through the game. But apparently you just get like the same 3 over and over again. They're just the same colors or different colors. Same thing with the weapons. All the weapons are the same guns. It's just different, like rarity.
Right.
And that levels with you, so you don't get like a random percent chance to get a blue at level 1. You are always going to get grays at level 1. Then when you hit the next arbitrary, checkpoint, you're going to get blues, and then so on and so forth. And that's kind of
why discern colors then?
Right. Like, why not just say we've upgraded your weapons?
Hey, look, you got a level 9 shotgun instead of a level 1 shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what happened was, like, my honest guess in the development cycle here is it sounds like it just changed hands too much. Because, like, originally, like, one lead came on and got fired or
Casey
left
Hudson.
or whatever.
Well, Casey Hudson left to go work on HoloLens stuff, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or VR.
Then he came back.
Yeah, and then he came back, and it's like, how much of the project, like, he was gone for, 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
How much of it changed from then to then? It looks like they spent a lot of money on design. Like, God, that game looks great. Like,
it does look great. It's Frostbite titles do look great, but like as you were saying, like what they did with that world is incredible. It looks so good. But then there's other frustrating parts, like the pop-in. The pop-in is really noticeable. To the fact that like the terrain deforms in front of you, like as it's loading in, and it just really shatters your immersion.
Yeah, and same thing with like the flying. Like, it kills me that you have to fly through waterfalls. Like, I know that that's just a way for them to slow you down when they need to, so that they can load stuff. But that is super frustrating. Like that.
Yeah.
It's like when you play Tomb Raider and you're like, why is the entrance to every cave like an inch thick that Lara has to crawl through? And it's like, because they're hiding the loading screen.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I
know.
I actually really like. I enjoyed that game a lot, but like, man, every time you entered like a space that was not outside, it was like through a crevice that was like, I don't even know if the character model is physically able to do that.
Yeah. But like, some games do that so well. Like, you look at God of War.
Yeah, God of War did it really well.
God of War, it did not ever feel like you had a loading screen. Like, especially with Mimir and like all that stuff, that game just covered load up so well. You cover load up, so that just sounds like something you'd hear in a porno. Anyways, but yeah, so
Did you know we are in a porno?
Did you tell by Moose's glasses?
3 men and a moose.
Do I just walk out this way, or I'm clearly in the wrong room?
Time for some of that hot podcast moose cocky.
I don't want to kink shame anyone, Then
why you leave it?
Because we're talking about Anthem, and
so I think as you guys were talking, I started to think, I remember a game that launched with Super Bare Bones, and no one really talked about it because it wasn't from a company that was super in vogue and under everybody's microscope. Warframe. Yeah. Because that is categorically a different game now than when it was. Like, granted, I've not played. I know Moose has played it more in the recent incarnation.
Don't play it on Switch. It'll crash.
It'll
crash your Switch.
Warframe is the Switch breaker.
That's why I had to get mine to fix it.
But that game, I feel like maybe BioWare looked at that and said, maybe that's how you do one of these, because it launched with not a lot. It was super repetitive, and I remember when it launched, my buddy Paul was playing it a lot. And he's like, yeah, there's not a ton here, but what I am doing is fun. Yeah. And I think Anthem is just suffering from it being BioWare.
How far into the? I'm not doing a lot, but what I'm doing is fun. How long before that wears off?
Exactly.
In which game?
Warframe.
Not Warframe. No, I mean in Anthem.
For me, it wore off. It wore off in like a couple hours for me with Anthem.
Yeah, like I have a feeling like this is how my playthrough of Anthem's going to go. I'm gonna try it for 2 hours. I'm gonna look at the trophy list and see how hard the platinum is, and that will decide whether I delete it or not. Because I will probably not put a lot of time into this game.
Mm-hmm.
because like for what it is at the state, it's way further along. Like even even to go to like the loot, like the assault rifles, they all look the same. They're all the same. They all there's 3 different types and they behave differently, but they all look the same. There's no different look to it. So it's like why like fucking Apex Legends is free to play and all the assault rifles look different.
Yeah.
Like
from the same company. That's the amazing part.
From the same publisher, same publisher,
but same. Yeah, like
there's gonna have to be like they're gonna have to do some severe overhauling. They're gonna have to allow you to change your loadouts when you're in missions. Mm-hmm. They've got to get rid of you got to go back if it's not open world.
Like, no, this is not an open world game.
Not an open world game, and that's what they're saying it is. And it's like, no, that's not what this game is. There's a goddamn load screen like every so often. Like every time I watched Angry Joe's review, and he actually had a section where the load screen was like 5 minutes, and the mission was like 4 minutes and 26 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I told you, like.
Than the mission, and it's like, what is going on?
I told you the other day.
Oh, sorry, Corey.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I told you the other day, like I was playing, and like I hit a loading screen. My baby had pooped, so I got up, cleaned her up, changed her diaper, got her redressed, and brought her back out before I loaded into a mission.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Either that or you were really good at changing it.
One guy was timing it. One of the YouTubers. One YouTuber was timing how long it took him to change his weapon. He was like, it was longer, 7 minutes, I think it was, like for him to go back, change his loadout. It took me shorter to get that weapon than it did to equip it. Just to equip it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what Rush Rustic's review at Polygon said about it too. Like, hey, you want to change your weapon? Here's how you do it in 11 easy steps.
Well, I remember when the beta came out, I was super excited to play it, and so I messaged Corey, and I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of shit." And so the full game came out, and I played it. I messaged Corey. I was like, "Dude, this is fucking awesome." And maybe a couple hours later, I messaged him. And I was like, "Yeah, it's still kind of shit." Like, it's just like. It was like that was our conversation. Shit. Yeah, no, it was like, awesome. Dude, that beta was a terrible first impression. This is the real thing now. This is the real fucking deal.
Now we're flying around.
You play it for a couple hours. You're like,
there are fever dreams with monsters and EDM pills.
Yeah, no, it's still shit. And I don't mean shit. It's just there's not enough there right now. It's $60. So
I feel like in 2 weeks, Division 2 is just going to come along and curb stomp it.
Yeah,
because what Division 2 is going to do is they even just playing the beta. I thoroughly enjoyed the beta of Division 2.
Oh yes,
the beta of Anthem, because they took what you loved about Division 2 and they did a lot of quality of lives, and then they introduced the story missions and the difficulty on that. And then they gave you a slice of the end game. They're like, here, pick this character with end game gear, and you can play through the end game, which was awesome. And
2 missions.
Yeah.
And the open beta is adding a 3rd mission.
Nice. Which is this weekend, isn't it? It starts.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm going to download that and try it out. I did not care for the Division, but I really want to try this.
See, I really like the Division 1. I love the Division 1, but you know, I put no joke at least 100 hours into the game, but I still felt that the criticism for it was valid. You know, I think it's fine. There's lots of stuff I like. You know, like I liked The Order. If I had to review it, I'd probably give it a 6. But I still enjoyed playing it. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to be critical of it. Like Division, I liked, but I feel that the game they released versus what they showed on stage at E3. Was totally different. Like that was just Watch Dogs level downgrade, right? And so, you know, I was disappointed by that. But Division 2, I feel, as you were saying, like it's taken a lot of the stuff from Division 1 and improved upon it. And don't get me wrong, there are still issues with Division 2. Like there are some bugs from Division 1 that are still in Division 2. Like firing from cover, for example. And there's a YouTuber, I can't remember his name. I think it's one of the top Division streamers. He was going through a lot of the bugs from Division 1 that are still in Division 2. Now, granted, most of these are only going to impact you if you play the PvP, either the Conquest or Dark Zone.
Team Deathmatch. What about isn't there Team Deathmatch?
The Conquest. Yeah, Conquest is the name of it.
But I thought Conquest was its own mode, and then there's an actual Team Deathmatch mode too.
The Conquest is Team Deathmatch.
No.
Or maybe there may be like because I posted.
There's no way to know, guys. There's no way to know.
There's no way to just Google it.
Anyways, the team PvP is fun, but the matchmaking right now, anyways, is broken. So I hope it's just the beta, right? So hopefully that'll get fixed for the full release. But I'm gonna get it for sure. I loved the beta. I had so much fun with it, and it was just way more polished than Anthem. So, I don't mean to compare them, but they're coming out right around the same time. They're the same kind of game.
Yeah, they're the same. They're operating in this. They're operating in the same wheelhouse. I mean,
pretty much, right? And if you've got $60 or in Canada $80 for a game, and you're looking at these two similar looking titles, and you want something to play for a long time. I mean, how could you not pick Division 2 over Anthem? Today, anyways, Anthem may be amazing in a year. Mm-hmm. There's no way to know, right? But it's $60 today, so you should get something for that fucking product. It's the same as Division Destiny when it first came out. I liked playing it. I thought it felt great. It was super fun to play, but there was just not enough there, right? There wasn't enough to keep me engaged at launch, and it improved certainly as it went on. But by that time, I was already on to other stuff.
What if they were out front of the launch and like being more detailed about their roadmap for the year? I mean, for Anthem, because I know because I haven't seen any of that. I've heard they say, "Oh, stuff is coming."
No, they have a detailed roadmap of when stuff's coming out.
Yeah, there's a 90-day roadmap, but it doesn't really sound like.
So this game is going to be fixed in 90 days.
Well, it's just like what the only thing that like is interesting about Anthem's roadmap is like the cataclysm at the end of the 90 days, and it's like, dude, people are going to be so gone by the time that thing rolls around.
But see, exactly. Now let me finish my thought. What if they were more detailed on a roadmap full of like actual multiple sets of content? Now, granted, I didn't know about this 90-day thing because clearly they're not doing the greatest job of it. Because you'd think that someone who is interested would be able to find that stuff, and it has not crossed my purview. But like, for instance, look at Hitman. Now, yes, Hitman is not the same thing, but every month IO says, hey, this is what we're doing. We've got an elusive target coming this day. We've got escalation missions coming this day. We've got a random content pack that's free, where you can unlock this, either suit, weapon, or whatever. And
so glad we're talking about Hitman.
Right?
So
yeah, I mean, they're not messaging it well. I mean, that's what you're saying right now, and it's like we did an episode of Javelins for Hire this weekend, and we were talking about the roadmap, and I went to talk about the roadmap, and it's literally I went to Anthem's official website, and the roadmap is just big kind of gray squares that say new missions, new weapons, new stronghold. And it's like you don't want to like detail what the weapons are or what you're going to be doing in these missions or what the stronghold is. Like, you don't want to like go into that at all.
I mean, essentially they're doing, the Metroid Prime logo and saying coming soon.
Another thing to keep in mind for Anthem is that Anthem, unlike the other games we've mentioned, Anthem is PvE only.
Yeah,
there's no PvP to go do if you get bored or whatever. Destiny, even at launch, you could do PvP. Division 2 has lots of PvP and multiple different modes of doing it. Anthem is all PvE, so it requires even more so than those other two a lot of content for you to do because it's your only way to get gear. It's your only way to do anything, really, right? So those other two games have a whole other mode to them. that this does not. So that makes, in my opinion, the lack of content in this game even more glaring because there's nothing else for you to go do.
Well,
Which I'm with you there.
Yeah,
Okay.
they probably didn't want to put PvP in because they would have to balance it. Like some classes go completely invincible during their ult, so like how would that be fair in PvP?
I don't have a problem. Like I don't have a problem with
be
the fact
100
that it's
interceptors parachute into a map and the last one standing wins.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a problem with the fact that it's PvE at all. It's just that if it is going to be that, cool, content. But it should have it should have lots of content. Like where's the crafting? Where's like there's a lot of stuff that they can do with it because again, I think the foundation is there for something that's good, but this is 7 years in. And now we're talking about how 1 year from now the game's going to be that much better. Well, it's like, well, what happened to the other 7? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
so basically, you should have held on to the game and released it after 8 years instead of 7. But then again, it's EA rushing it out the door to get the cash grab and then fix it on the back end.
Go back and look at the demo that they showed, and they swore up and down that was running real time on hardware. Look at that game that they showed, and then look at the game that we have today. It looks like it doesn't even look like the same game. Digital Foundry has done like a really good breakdown of it, but it's just disappointing. Like it's upsetting to see what the game is right now because I think everyone here who's playing it and who saw all the stuff leading up to it were expecting something more. That's all, and maybe it will be eventually, but it's just frustrating that it isn't there now.
Yeah.
So I'm
in the chat.
I was gonna say I'm gonna interject now.
I'd rather play Halo at this point than Anthem. I already got rid of it. Really?
Oh, don't say that.
Spoilers. He likes Halo.
Spoilers. He likes Halo.
I mean, I like Halo also, but
I don't know. Like,
I'm sorry to interject. Did you guys see that story that they almost picked Gearbox to make Halo 4?
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, they did the Halo 1 and 2 ports to PC. Back in the day,
to develop it entirely, though?
Yeah, dude, I would have been like...
You think they would have did a shitty job?
They would have put Claptrap in Halo and it would have been great.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been great.
Have a Claptrap in Halo.
They just troll the world and make Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Borderlands guy, I'm not gonna lie.
Good thing my programmers programmed me with a happy demeanor because I'm actually quite depressed.
Claptrap with the Master Chief helmet on it.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Who's this Cortana that everyone keeps talking about? I'm Claptrap. And then I also want to address, since Deshaun is still in the chat, earlier in the episode he did oh crap, I can't find it. He said, by the way, I really loved your best of episode. It was really cool to see how you started, and the intermission segments really broke it up nicely. Thanks for including me. Deshaun, you've been here. You've been a rock for us all. Thank you so much for being a part of it. But both of you assholes even made appearances. Kenny and Phillips, both of you did. You didn't know it, but you did.
You don't have to call them assholes. I mean,
that's my term of
I'd rather he calls me an asshole behind my back, so he may as well say it to my face.
I don't call you an asshole behind your back.
No, he doesn't call it to you.
I don't call you an asshole behind your back, asshole.
Keep firing, assholes.
Yes. Okay, so we had a nice good Anthem minute.